I mean, honestly, if I have anything to say, it's that In the Underworld Now is criminally short. Like, Casper, I want a jazz solo for the band, which I understand is difficult to do likely when you don't have actual musicians and instruments there, but like, jazz solo for the band. I want a whole extra minute on that thing. Criminally short. Still annoyed that it was that short. We are on to the next song in Stories from STYX, and that is Crossroads, which I have no idea what it's about, especially when I see that the next two songs are called My Persephone and There Is No Name. And I have been told, Casper, you did mention that you took a very interesting, hopefully to me interesting, which I think it will be, look at the whole Hades and Persephone dynamic in trying to show kind of different sides of the same story, which I'm going, yeah. Hell yeah, give that to me. Love that. There's lots of perspectives on it. Depends on who you ask. You know, if you ask Zeus and Hades, they'll be like, look, we did the proper thing. If you ask Demeter, she'll go, fuck you two, I hate you all. But before we get to that, we have Crossroads. Now, my mind immediately goes to, like, the devil at the crossroads, but that's the wrong mythos. So, Crossroads. If we think just sort of literary analysis and, you know, imagery, the crossroads, you have to make a decision, you have to make a choice. Which, you know, up until this point, we have done the Titanomachia, we've had kind of Hades being introspective, we've established the underworld. Are we moving towards the Persephone story already? I mean, if Hades had any sort of choice to make there, it was, does he even make the choice to go and ask Zeus's permission to marry Persephone? Because obviously, Zeus being Persephone's father, being the king of the gods, this is something he would have to ask him, which he does. For the time period, he goes through all the proper steps in order to make that happen. And as much as everybody goes, well, he didn't get, you know, Persephone's permission, like, she wasn't aware. It's like, well, unfortunately, hate to break it to everybody, she didn't really get a choice. Most divine marriages were pretty much ordained by Zeus, and so you didn't get much choice. Alright, look, different times, different ethics, different morals, highly patriarchal society, what do you want from me? I don't know what to expect, so I don't even know what to expect musically, which again has been equally fun in this whole thing. I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna be out of the swanky little jazz club, which does make me sad because I was enjoying my swanky little jazz club. But let's get on to Crossroads.
Up above, under blue skies, a beautiful goddess tends to the flowers in her mother's garden.
Oh, so we're Persephone already.
This is the most discussed one when it comes to Hades. Was she a flower that just got picked? You tell me.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so we are jumping right into the Persephone story. This chapter of the stories is the most discussed one when it comes to Hades. Loved the pause, the like, how do I phrase this? It is. Because Hades doesn't have too many stories of his own. Really, again, his most discussed one is that is known as the R of Persephone. Now, I do want to talk about that word. Because that word, which has been used throughout time, had a different meaning when it comes to older pieces of art and older texts. We're not specifically talking about, like, violent SA. It's kidnapping. And you can claim he kidnapped her. However, if you go by the text and the rules and the ethics of the times, he carried her away with her father's permission, so he technically did nothing wrong. And yet, because we are in the world of the gods, and the human mores, the human ethics, do not apply to the gods, the rules don't apply to the gods, essentially, you could then argue, well, he still needed to talk to Demeter. But then you have to look at Demeter. Demeter is, I mean, her and Thetis are pretty much in competition for who's the biggest helicopter parent obsessed with their child. Those two, between Demeter and Persephone and Thetis and Achilles, or Achilles, it's a hard contest between the two of them. And here's the thing. All of these can be true at once. A parent can be overbearing, and the taking of the child can be a violent act. All of these things can be true. It's, for me, part of why I love Greek mythology. Again, as I said in a previous video, like, trying to look at them as sort of this binary black or white, good or bad, is often not the smartest idea, because the Greeks play in the shades of gray. They frequently are just like, well, look, people are, and even the gods will do things that maybe we don't like. I mean, of course, with the gods, it's like tough shit, they're the gods, but when they do it to each other, then they are on equal playing fields with each other. So the story of the taking of Persephone is the most famous myth associated with Hades. It comes predominantly from this work known as the Homeric Hymn to Demeter. Now, these Homeric hymns are not necessarily attributed to Homer. This character of Homer is really only the Iliad and the Odyssey are attributed to him. However, it's almost like the school of Homer, like people who followed in his style and followed in his writings. There's a variety of hymns, not all of them complete, and they're to various gods and tell different stories. The Homeric Hymn to Demeter is predominantly about the taking of Persephone and how Demeter reacts to that whole thing, because that's the real story. It's not just the taking of Persephone, it's the reaction of Demeter that makes the story equally as memorable. Because if Demeter had not basically blown her gasket and said, well then, fuck humanity, I guess, what if I just starve the earth? And Zeus is like, your kid got married, is it that big of a thing? She's like, well, you didn't ask me. He's like, I didn't have to. Which again, all of these arguments, all of these viewpoints are true at once. The interesting thing about Greek mythology, and even more with Homeric works, so I mean Iliad, Odyssey, and sure we'll list the Homeric hymns in there, are these ideas of philosophical irreconcilables. Basically, two things which are diametrically opposed to each other are true at once and have to coexist in the story. Now, that doesn't mean they coexist comfortably, but they do coexist. So that's the thing where the story of the taking of Persephone is a story of a lot of different viewpoints and a lot of things that are true all at once, and yet they are all rubbing up and conflicting with each other. For me, that's what makes the story so interesting. That's what makes Greek mythology so interesting. It's all of these ideas are uncomfortably existing together. When, you know, in a simpler story, or even like philosophically, we think they shouldn't. But okay. So, was she a flower that just got picked? I love the flower imagery for Persephone, who's also known as Kore, this goddess of spring, and she's such a fascinating character. I mean, you get to be a goddess of both life, and then when she goes down and becomes queen of the underworld, she becomes a chthonic goddess, so she is a goddess of life and that which is associated with death in the underworld. She is extremely powerful. She's one of the few who gets to be multiple things in that way. Again, these diametrically opposed ideas that are existing, as one might say, cheek by jowl, like, again, right up against each other simultaneously. But the imagery of the flower, because the idea she was in the field of flowers, and then Hades sprung up to get her on his chariot of, like, black horses, and, like, the earth opened up for him to do it, snatched her, came back down, and nobody saw what happened except for Helios, because he was, you know, driving his chariot in the sky. Lots of chariots. Understandably, because especially in the pre-archaic age, the Greeks valued horsemanship greatly. It's why you get a lot of heroes who get the epithet breaker of horses. It means you are an exceptional horseman. And then going back to the Bronze Age, which is what they kind of viewed as this prehistoric heroic age, chariot warfare was a big deal. Less and less as time went on, obviously, but horsemanship was always valued and prized in Greek culture. And so that's why often you'll hear talks of chariot races in a lot of myths, and why these gods are coming in their chariots that are driven by these horses and everything else. So, okay, we are diving right into Persephone. I am so curious. So curious. Oh. Sorry, pausing already quickly again. I heard those chimes. We heard those chimes when Hades was talking about who would want to come live down here with me in the underworld. So that is clearly our little musical signal. That is Persephone. And again, I just imagine a trail of sparkles going across the screen. Why not? Because obviously Persephone is going to be gorgeous. Look, again, canonically all of the gods are hot. Most of these people are canonically hot to the Greeks. So there you go.
Who did blossom when I appeared, as the seasons change like winds when I'm alone. My innocence is guarded, yet my dad has me discarded. That's why a mother's love's my sword and shield.
Is this Teagan Earley, who sang Athena in Epic? It's a similar timbre. That's why I'm asking. Interesting wording here. My innocence is guarded, yet my dad has me discarded. Okay, innocence is guarded. Yes, obviously for women, and even these goddesses who are not, say, Aphrodite or some of the others like Eos, Selene, and all of these who kind of take multiple lovers and the like, you are expected to not sleep with anybody until you are married. I mean, when you are a woman, especially a woman of status, look, again, patriarchal society, pretend to be cool with it, basically, to understand why this was important, and I think why this is added. And it's like, and yet my dad has me discarded. Look, Zeus has a lot of kids. Let's just be real. He has a lot of kids with a lot of various lovers, wives, concubines, whatever you want to call them. There's procreation happening all over the place. But he's not very involved in the lives of a lot of them. He's not. There's just no other way to say it. I mean, the one he's most actively involved in the life in is, quite frankly, Athena, who is without question his favorite child of every single child he has. It's real fucking obvious, because she's the only one whose life he kind of gets involved in and stays reasonably involved in. He's not that active in all their lives, mortal or immortal. So it's not necessarily, you could make the argument that he discards them. But it's also the fact that Demeter, upon Persephone's birth, was immediately, basically, as she says, a mother's love, my sword and shield. Demeter immediately had Persephone basically isolated from everybody else, kept her away from everyone else. And yeah, while we can all crack jokes about have you met the men of Greek mythology, especially many of the male gods of Greek mythology, really just the men of Greek mythology, most of us would go, yeah, we kind of get it, sister. Like, I mean, to be fair, everyone in Greek mythology is a hot mess, male or female alike. Like, everybody's a flaming dumpster fire, most of them, 99.9% of them. But Demeter does take a noticeably overactive role in kind of sheltering Persephone away from pretty much everything and everyone. Again, her and Thetis in competition for who's the biggest helicopter mom. So, you could see it as a sword and shield against the, well, have you met the men here? Have you? And the world is terrifying. And whilst I am not a parent to a human, I obviously have Peg. There's the idea of the parent, you want to shield them from the world. You want to keep them safe from the horrors that are outside. But the thing is, of course, if you don't let a kid fall down and scrape their knee, they never learn. If you don't let a kid experience life, how are they actually living? And this could apply to even the gods, even though, of course, they don't die. They get to escape the biggest consequence that mortals have to experience, which is, again, mortality. So again, all of these ideas existing cheek by jowl, existing simultaneously. So I'm very curious. It's very interesting. So I guess the crossroad is for Persephone. It's how do I, the crossroad could be for her mentally. How do I feel about this? But also, if you're at a crossroad and you're not making a choice, you're stuck. You're in stasis. You're, I don't know, like frozen in time, basically. You're not moving. You're not progressing in any way. I could imagine that while you could say, well, you can't miss what you never had. I mean, how does she even know what the world is outside of there? Well, okay, she understands that people go places and gods will go places and come back. She knows there's a greater world out there, but she's not being allowed to experience it. I could imagine that could be frustrating. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I'm babbling before the song even keeps going, just because these lyrics are so interesting. There's so much to kind of dig out of these lyrics. Excuse me, calling back to my... Okay, you all need to understand. You all need to understand the music that I listened to in high school, especially the last couple of years of the back half of high school and going into the first couple of years of university, which was female-fronted symphonic metal. A lot of, for those who are familiar with some of those genres, I mean, you can think like Evanescence, Nightwish, Within Temptation. I was all about that music. Hence my my reaction, just like, excuse me, suddenly ripping in the electric guitar and just, I mean, this must be Teagan. This is Teagan. Yeah. Those belts are insane. And just, oh my. This speaks to me in a deep way. None of you you can't understand how much this speaks to me musically. That is, ooh. That punched me right in the gut in a good way, and I love it. I love it so much. Okay. And I like this, where we begin with the chimes. It's very soft, the delicate. And then remember, she becomes a chthonic goddess. Rip the guitar. There is something iron in there. There is more than what she is at the moment. She has yet to reach her full potential and power. Now, so after I had that blast of the past in a good way, I'm gonna have to go listen to some of that music again. Like, I'm gonna have to pull up my old playlists from deep in the crypt archives. Let's talk about these lyrics. Why am I frozen in place? At a crossroads. Am I a disgrace? I think that is such an interesting line. It's a great line because the gods are all about being powerful, even if it's soft power, but usually it's pretty active power. There's a lot of talk about in the Homeric epics about, especially in the Iliad, where the gods are way more present and way more active. They are active in using their power because they have the liberty to do so, as opposed to Achilles, who uses his power in a far more passive way. He essentially uses his power by removing himself, right? That's his powers. He goes, fine, I won't fight for you. Meh. Look, I like to tease about Achilles' bitch fit, for that is the entirety of the Iliad. But the gods are just like, well, now I'm angry. I'm on the battlefield. Now I'm upset. I'm gonna go do something about it. In this case, if you are a goddess and you know you have power, because of course you do, you're a goddess, no matter like where you are on the scale, you have an element of power, and you are doing nothing, are you considered a disgrace to the other gods? That's a valid question. Even if you were a nymph who only is in a very specific area and you have a very small local cult, hey, that is still power that's being exercised. If Persephone is, as she feels, standing at a crossroad, not making a choice, not even being presented a choice, she understands she has to make a choice, but she doesn't even seem to know what choice to make, she would feel like, what kind of goddess am I? Ooh, why do I feel the way that I do? Is it true? Am I at a crossroads? So, okay, even more so, she's questioning, is this all that I am? Or is there a choice I should be making? Is there, a direction I should be going? Is there basically, I want much more than this provincial life? I mean, she's starting to feel stuck. I like that a lot. What do you mean we went from a swanky jazz club to female-fronted symphonic metal? What do you mean, Casper? What do you mean with all of the genre switch-ups are taking me out in the best way? I love it. I just don't know what to expect. Never would have thought I'd get this. I'm having such a good time. And also love that you this, the voice, the belts. Ugh.
Remember me as a flower field who just got picked. Will they idolize or sympathize? I don't know if I love my life.
Oh, interesting. This is very interesting because history remember me as a flower field who just got picked. I mean, at this point, nothing has happened to her. So is she looking forward at the future going, am I eventually going to have to get married? I mean, you would assume eventually you will be married. Likely Zeus will pick your husband, not just because he is your father, but because he is the father with a capital F. He is the king of the gods. But also, she has been so shielded by her mother, does she even assume that's on the table? And also for the fact that there are virgin goddesses. Look, Athena, Artemis, Hestia, pretty much. I mean, virgin goddesses are absolutely a thing. So you know, is she considering maybe that's what I'll be? I mean, it does seem that you could argue Demeter is forcing her to be one of those without taking Persephone's opinion into account. Will they idolize or sympathize? And will history remember me? Yes, history will. You're a goddess. I mean, look, we could do whole discussions about that, but we don't have the time, and that is a tangent that we don't have time for that tangent. Will they idolize or sympathize? You will always be idolized. Even if you are a tragic figure in mythology, you are in some way venerated. You are idolized. And even the most terrible characters in mythology get remembered, are in ways venerated for the good things they do. I mean, in the case of the hero, the idea of the corruption of the hero, the downfall of the hero, I mean, in Greek tragedy, they call it the hamartia, which is your fatal flaw, your tragic flaw, the thing that just kind of ruins you in an Athenian tragedy. I mean, that's normal in the story. Heroes are not always going to do things we like. Same thing with the gods for us nowadays, but of course gods operate on a different playing field. So will she be idolized or sympathized? It is quite possible to be both. And sympathized to a degree. Mortals have to be careful. I mean, they might feel sorry for a god, but they're also like, I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm better than you, how dare I pity you. You have to walk a fine line when it comes to those kind of feelings about a god. But if she's talking about the other gods in terms of being sympathized, again, what do the other gods think of her?
Oh God! Oh God! I feel like I'm trapped. I feel like I'm frozen. I feel like I'll never be the chosen. I'll never be the one to take a stand.
Yes, go up! Oh. There's a duet. Casper, is that you? Have you brought in Hades? Is that you under her? Because the man's taking the lower line. Which, I mean, god damn, this is high. I say the lower line, it's still high as hell, but I know your range is fucking bonkers, by the way. Insane. Is that you? Is that you who I hear under here? Are we all... I have a feeling. I got a feeling. I got the spidey senses are tingling, okay? But I love that. I mean, the triple O gods. I love that. I mean, just the emotion in that. I feel like I'm trapped. I feel like I'm frozen. I feel like I'll never be the chosen. I mean, again, we talk about, will she get married? Will she have the option? She doesn't really know. That God, you feel bad for Persephone existing in this uncomfortable stasis. That's in many ways unfair to her. Now, again, the other argument you can make is that it's extremely unfair to her that Zeus just says, great, yeah, sure, Hades, absolutely, you can marry her, but, you know, she's got a helicopter mom who's also her sister, so you're gonna have to take her and all that. So the violent taking of her can also be seen as unfair. All of these things can be true. God! Yeah, that's you. Harmony is so nice. Oh, shut the... Oh! God! And closing with the chimes. Fuck you, that was amazing. Yes, Casper, I have to swear at you. I have to swear at you for doing that at the end. What do you mean you shot her up? What in the hell? Look, I started this video bitching about how I wanted In the Underworld now to be longer. I wanted to hang in my schwanky little jazz club. And now I'm at a rock concert. including a musical outro, which thank you for that. The fuck do you mean? What the fuck? Oh my god, I've gone almost hysterical. What the fuck do you mean? That's insanely good. I mean, one, yeah, musically, I mean, I love it, melodically, all of that, but then just, I mean, you guys in the harmony, amazing. How high, this is a nasty part. This is cruel and unusual punishment for the soprano, okay? Casper, that was rude. You're hitting, like, Andrew Lloyd Webber levels of rude to your soprano. What do you mean? Jesus. Okay, obviously bringing in Hades at the end. I love it comes in this subtle duet. And it's coming from her feeling like she's trapped and feeling like, what else more can I get? Like, what more can I be other than existing in this comfortable stasis? What even are my options? Okay, well, conveniently, your father has made the option for you. And again, that's the element of the culture where the gal's not gonna have a choice. One of the rare moments of let's say, like, famous marriages in mythology, a rare moment of the woman really getting the carte blanche choice is Helen of Sparta. She's one of the only ones who got the choice. Now, to be fair, she's sitting with some privilege in that she is a daughter of Zeus. And Zeus is not there. She's being raised, we'll say the father that stepped up, her human father, if you will, who is King Tyndareus. Part of that could be he does not feel he has the right to pick a husband for her as she is a child of Zeus. But she got that choice. And she kind of had the pick of the pick of, like, all the Greek heroes and kings rolled up. Like, she had some serious options to choose from. And she made her choice, which again makes her kidnapping by Paris all the more fucking tragic. Persephone does not get that choice. And however we feel about that, the Greeks would have looked at that going, well, I mean, Zeus made the choice. But Demeter is also a goddess. She's also a Chronaides. But she's not queen of the gods. She's not on the same level of Zeus because he is king. He gets the choice. She's still pissed about it. Trust me, she's got a reaction to it. But I like that this song is, you know, just as we gave Hades his song, his introspection, his looking again, as we said, the philosophical irreconcilables, that kind of uncomfortable dichotomy he sits with of never dying and then ruling over the realm that shows him the very stark difference between him and humanity, which is humans die. There is no underworld for him, right? In the same with Persephone, we have her being very introspective, going, am I sitting on multiple options and I'm not even aware of it? I'm going nowhere. I am sheltered, I am in a bubble, but I am in that way confined. And truly, Persephone as a goddess becomes her most powerful by becoming queen of the underworld. That is where her power, like her greater power, comes from, because she becomes this dual identity goddess, which is very, very rare. And so for both of them, here are two characters who are existing with uncomfortable internal monologues coming together. Now, what I'm guessing, given the next two songs are My Persephone and then There Is No Name, I'm gonna get My Persephone. One of those is gonna be like Hades and Persephone, potentially I would wager is maybe a love story. One of those is going to be Hades and Persephone as the story of a tragic kidnapping and a mother's wrath or despair. If I had to guess, because I was, again, Casper, you told me, you mentioned that you tried to play multiple angles, which I appreciate. Again, Greek mythology is all about multiple angles. It's all about it. And part of the fun of reading scholarship on classical mythos is seeing what angle someone takes and how they roll with it. And you can read multiple papers on the same, and, you know, works on the same story, and everybody will attack it from a different angle and come to multiple conclusions. It's part of what makes these works so fascinating, stand the test of time, I would say. And also thanks, to all those Benedictine monks who decided that, hey, yeah, they're pagans, but maybe we should save their shit. I'm like, yeah, thanks, guys, thanks. As somebody who is Greek, I appreciate you saving my culture. Wow. Yeah, my mind is a little blown. I was not I was not expecting to have a, like, musical nostalgia trip to my high school years. Those were quite a time. What do you mean? There's no credits to roll. Pretend to roll the credits. I have no more thoughts.